Finally, Hillary Clinton breaks her silence. After nearly a month of avoiding the media's questions about her emails, donations, and all the other controversies surrounding her and Bill, Hillary finally took some questions. With more on this, Chris Stirewalt, digital politics editor for Fox News, and Patrick Brennan of the National Review. Patrick, I will start with you, and my favorite sound of the day. This is Hillary talking about the emails. Here she is.
I have said repeatedly, I want those emails out. Nobody has a bigger interest in getting them released than I do. I respect the State Department. They have their process that they do for everybody, not just for me. But anything that they might do to expedite that process, I heartily support.
So, Patrick, she wants those emails out? Really? Didn't she have a chance some time ago to put absolutely everything out?
Yeah, so right now the process they're going through is the State Department is reviewing all these emails. But perhaps this would have been expedited if Hillary Clinton hadn't kept all the emails at a server in her house in Chappaqua in the first place.
Yeah, so she was perfectly capable of making them all public if she wanted to. Chris Stirewalt, there were some other interesting comments from the contender for the White House. Listen to this.
Bill and I have been blessed, and we're very grateful for the opportunities that we had, but we've never forgotten where we came from. I think that most Americans understand that the deck is stacked for those at the top, and I am running a campaign that is very clearly stating we want to reshuffle that deck.
What does that mean, reshuffling the deck? The deck is stacked.
Well, she there is appropriating the rhetoric of Elizabeth Warren and others whose favor she's hoping to win so she doesn't have to have a primary, and she's close. We should remember she's only about 8 or maybe 10 weeks away from being able to call this sewn up and moving on to the general election without having to spend any serious money or do anything else. So she appropriates that language. And as a matter of fact, she was today talking about financial regulations for community banks, saying they need to get the red tape off their backs. I assume that Elizabeth Warren has pretty much veto power over any commentary Hillary Clinton's making about banks.
I just, when you say the deck is stacked, Chris, it sounds to me like she thinks people are cheating. They cheat to get that money. The wealthy, they don't get it the right way. They do it the wrong way.
They don't get it the right way, like giving speeches for Russian oligarchs, or they don't get it the right way by dropping into Kazakhstan and putting together deals on uranium. Look, the Clintons, and when it comes to money and talking about money, it's going to be more awkward for them almost, or maybe even more than it was for Mitt Romney. They can't do it because, remember this, Bill Clinton recently told NBC News that the reason he was going to keep giving these speeches that created all these ethical woes was that he had bills to pay. Well, we found out that the bills must be pretty big because they hauled in $30 million in less than 18 months in last year. So they got a big problem on that front.
Well, and you mentioned the paid speeches. I just want to show folks Clinton's paid speeches. This is Hillary's paid speeches just weeks before she announced. Look at the tech companies here that she spoke to and the amount she got. Patrick, to you, what do you make of that?
Well, the sheer amount involved here is, I think, shocking to a lot of Americans. You understand bringing the former Secretary of State, former First Lady, you pay a lot for her. It looks nice for your company. But when you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, the average payment over the last year or so appears to be about $250,000. When you're paying that much, it seems to suggest that you're bringing them in to develop a kind of relationship in the hopes that that she'll be in office in the future.
Chris, I want to turn to the flap over George Stephanopoulos because I'm endlessly fascinated by this. ABC, who pays George $105 million, defending him. Surprise, surprise. What do you think should happen here? And why is it that the fact that Stephanopoulos has, an ongoing special relationship with the Clinton Foundation, speaking at the Clinton Initiative events, serving as a co-host, all of this has not really been covered or described in the media?
Well, look, I don't know what should happen to George Stephanopoulos because I don't know what kind of operation ABC is running or wants to run. I think you and I both know what would happen here. I think you and I both know perfectly well that it would be a quick trip out to the street for anybody who was caught with connections to and not disclosing fully those connections. So something amiss. Either ABC knew and is complicit, or Stephanopoulos didn't disclose to them, or something, but something's amiss here. And the depth of those connections, look, let's face it, for ABC, hiring Stephanopoulos was a mistake. And for a long time, it wasn't a mistake because they got away with it. But like anything else, like speeding in a car or taking any other risk, sooner or later, it's over, and you don't get much advance warning when it's over. And for them, it's over.
He is really well regarded in Washington and liked very much. But the fact that it took him so long to say, maybe I shouldn't have given that money in the first place, it makes you wonder, sit back and think, wow, does he really understand the kind of conflict that other people see here? Chris, what do you say?
I think it's different than that. I think that for people, I think there's a media elite that doesn't care, and it doesn't really matter. And all of the back scratching and elbow rubbing and all of the stuff that goes on in which people who occupy this narrow caste, for those folks, they don't think it's a big deal because, well, they're all the same people who they see all the time, so it's got to be okay. But when something like this pops and a broader audience hears it, they say, you used to work for them, you give money to their charity, you can't be impartial when you're talking about them, and it's like, duh.
All right. Well, Chris and Patrick, thanks for coming on tonight. Great to see both of you.
You banks.